Oh, what is it, XPs, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 124. Leaf legend Bryan McCabe of My Little Hockey Show, where once a week I go through all the major news and what's happenings around the NHL, mainly focusing in on the Leafs and the Calgary Flames. Those are my two favorite teams, but I'll be talking about all 32 teams on this podcast. And today we're going to focus in on the East and see if we have a potential new player in this crazy Eastern playoff race. We'll see if one of Detroit, Ottawa, or the Buffalo Sabres could potentially make it. We'll look into those teams and see what's going on. Got to take a look at what's going on in Philadelphia. A lot of losing is going on over in Philadelphia. San Jose keeps losing, but there's some bright spots this season so far. So we're roughly 10 games. Most teams have played around 10 games, so we're about 1/8 through the season. So now we're getting a little bit more of a lay of the land, so we'll take a look around and see what's going on. There's been some signings. I think a trade happened, and tons and tons and tons of injuries. Let's start with all the injury news. Where should we even start there? Let's go to Colorado. Ross the Boss Colton, baby. This is a bad one. This one sucks. Ross the Boss is currently Colorado's leading goal scorer, and he broke his foot. Broke his foot blocking a shot. It happens, and Ross the Boss Colton will be missing 6 weeks. 6+ weeks, possibly. He's gonna be out for a while, and that sucks. He's one of the bright spots in Colorado right now, and Colorado has been doing much, much better. They have been rattling off numerous wins. Annunen is playing really good in the net, so maybe they've solved a potential goalie issue right there. As long as they don't put Georgiev in the net, they should be okay, right? But right now it looks like Annunen is holding Colorado in there. Their play has been a whole lot better. Let's go take a look at Colorado really quickly here and see what's going on. So their goals against is still atrocious. It's going to even out a little bit from it's going to take a minute for that to calm down after those first few horrible games where they're allowing tons and tons of goals, but they're scoring tons of goals now. They're 10th in the league, scoring 3.6 goals per game. Their power play is ridiculous at 36.4%. Again, we're early in the season, so these numbers might be high, but honestly, 36 is very high, but we've seen the Oilers stay there. I could see Colorado messing around and keeping it in. I don't think they'll stay at 36, but maybe high 20s, maybe even 30% power play. I can see that. The way that Makar is playing right now, oh my goodness, man. Like, that guy is just slaughtering the league right now. I think I talked about him last week, but man, he's just can't stop scoring points right now. So Cale Makar holders in the fantasy must be very happy with that one. But penalty kill, definitely still a struggle. 29th still in the NHL, 70.4. So they're going to work on it, but they have been winning games. All right, let's see. How many have they rattled off now? Well, they just lost the other night, which is unfortunate. But prior to that, they're on a 5-game winning streak after going on their 5-game losing streak. So there you go. You evened it out a little bit. They lost against, they lost against Chicago. That's embarrassing, but they have a game tonight against Tampa Bay. That is going to be a good game right there for sure. It's going to be a very interesting test for both teams, honestly. Colorado is going to be hungry after that loss to Chicago, and the Lightning are the Lightning. They're looking to prove that they are still Stanley Cup contenders, and they've been very good this season as well. So that's going to be a big game right there for Colorado. They don't want to get back into, they really need to respond with a win after a loss. They can't allow the wins to stack up, especially after allowing 5 in a row to go down, but their goaltending's been better. Goals against, they had 3, 1, 2, 1, 4, and then 5 the other night. So definitely better than early in the season when it was 4, 6, 6, 8, 6, 6, 5. So yeah, they're still not getting the best goaltending, but it's been a little bit better. And Annunen and Georgiev have both played 6 games. Annunen's got the 4 wins. Georgiev's only got the 1 goal. Oh my goodness. Goals against for Annunen, 2.47. Georgiev, a 4.62. Yuck. That is awful. Save percentage for Annunen, 905. It's okay. That's okay. It'll get better. And then Georgiev, 8.822 save percentage. Holy crap. that is pretty much unplayable. And I don't know if they've been playing him very much. I know Annan's been the one picking up all those wins right there. So you play the hot hand. And I don't know what's going on. Didn't they have like Luukkonen or something, Kakkonen, one of those goalies? They haven't even used him yet. So what the heck? I mean, again, if Annan's playing good, just let him roll, man. And right now, Cale Makar has 17 points in 10 games. Not a big deal. The big boys are firing on all cylinders. And Casey Middlestad, bro, this guy's been killing it for Colorado. An excellent addition for them. They brought him in last season, and he looked good. But now he looks great on the Colorado Avalanche. 10 games played, and he's got 13.6 goals. So Casey Middlestad on his way to a potential career year. And sadly, Ross the Boss Colton, he's got the Cy Young Award going on here. 8 goals, 1 assist, 9 points in 10 games. So that's their top goal scorer. 8 goals. He's down. Who could step up and potentially get those goals going for them? Maybe Logan O'Connor. I'm looking at you, Ivan. I can't believe that guy actually exists. His name is Ivan. First name Ivan, last name Ivan. If you don't believe me, go check it out. And Devon Taves only played in 6 games. What's going on with him? He's only got the 1 point. That's not ideal. I was hoping that Oliver Shillington would have gotten into more games by now. He's only gotten into the 2 games, and obviously they are still dealing with the Jonathan Drouin injury. They would, at this point, it'd be great if he would come in right now and help out with the loss of Ross the Boss Colton. That is not ideal. But for the most part, all the big guys are going really, really good for Colorado. Kiviranta's got 4 goals. They just need to get some goals going from some other guys that were not Ross Colton. So we'll see if they are able to find that. Colton's going to be down for a long time, so that's going to hurt them. We know they have, what's that guy's name? Nichushkin, he's on his way back at some point. I believe he will be returning sometime in November. So sooner rather than later, it'd be good. I wouldn't expect him to be explosive out of the gate. It's probably going to take him a little bit to get, accustomed, catch up, get up to speed, and all that shit. But that'll be a great addition. And hopefully sooner rather than later, they get Drouin as well. So big injury there for Colorado. That one is gonna hurt. And speaking of, that is going to hurt. We got the Utah blue line has taken a big hit on their blue line, and they're taking a pretty big hit right now just overall. Not only is Sean Durzi down, but they are also down John Marino. So they're down 2 of their main roster defensemen, and that's going to hurt. You're going to lose 2 of them, and it definitely has been hurting the Utah squad. They have really, really been struggling to find goals over their last quite a few games here. So let's check in. They're currently on a 4-game losing streak, and let's just see. So after their winning streak, they had a 4-game winning streak. Then they got shut out, and then they lost 5-4. They won 2-1. They got shut out again. They scored 1 goal, 2 goals, and they scored 4 the other night, but lost 5-4. And that was to San Jose, so that's not ideal. You got shut out by the Sens, destroyed by Colorado. That's okay. Kings was a close game, losing to the Ducks, and then shut out by the Devils as well. And the Devils are struggling to keep pucks out of their net. So things are not looking very good anymore for Utah after their hot start, which sucks. I mean, I'm still rooting for them, of course. It's not over. They're 4-4-2. It's Bettman 500, so they could potentially get out of it, but they're dealing with injury problems as well, and they're not coming back anytime soon. Durzi is out long-term, 4 to 6 months after a shoulder surgery, and Durzi is that's the power play guy. That is their number 1 offensive defenseman, and he was off to a great start as well, which, me as, him being a former Toronto Maple Leaf just makes me so happy. And then Marino will be out 2 to 3 months after having back surgery, and that's a big one as well. John Marino's I believe he would be a defensive defenseman, but he's a good player, man. He was really good when he was in Pittsburgh. Kind of boggled my mind that they got rid of him. But that sucks, man, and definitely going to suck for Utah. They're currently 21st in the league for goals for, 27th in goals against. I was expecting a bit better goaltending out of them this season. It doesn't look like Connor Ingram has held on to that magic from last season. Power play at 14%, 24th in the league, and penalty kill, 20th in the league, 76.9. So they're in the 20s in every category, and that is not going to lead you to success. So we look at their stats. Connor Ingram right now has 8 games played, 4 wins. Currently rocking a 388 goals against, not good, and an 873 save percentage, well below average and way down from what he was doing last year. Karel Melka, on the other hand, he's played in 3 games, no wins. He's got a 304 goals against and an 889. So they're not getting the goaltending that they wanted, and like I said, they're down to main roster defensemen, so that's going to hurt them. In terms of point-wise, Clayton Keller is doing well. He's got 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points in 10 games. Schmaltz is getting all the assists, 9 assists in 10 games. He's doing well. Logan Cooley, I would like to see him get some more goals potentially. He's got 1 goal and 7 assists, 8 points in 10 games. Pretty good. And then Dylan Gunther has slowed down goal-scoring-wise. It's very much so to be expected out of a young rookie player. They will have their hot streaks, and he will definitely have his cold streaks. I wouldn't say he's ice cold right now, but he's not on fire the way that he was at the beginning of the season. He's still at 6 goals. I think he scored 1 goal since last we talked about him, so you're going to want to get some more out of him right there. Mikhail Sergachev, like, everyone's just kind of starting to fall off. Lawson Krause has been ice cold for a long time. Yeah, man, there's just not really what you would see a playoff-looking team right here, but hopefully the good vibes are still there for Utah. But yeah, they're starting to go through it. It looks like they're potentially falling back to the way they looked last season, but at least this time they don't have that dark cloud over them of like what our future is. At least now they have a comfy home, and they'll get through it. They'll hopefully get healthy. I think they made a trade. There was, I think, a trade for them. Hold on. Let's just go take a look. Let's see what this trade was. Yes, Utah did acquire Olli Määttä, a defenseman. Not a great defenseman by any means, but it'll definitely help plug the gap for a little bit. And they got him from Detroit, and going to Detroit is a 3rd-round pick in 2025. And we know that Utah has a buttload of draft picks. They have so many draft picks, so that's basically nothing for them. Makes a lot of sense that they're going to try and help out that defensive situation. Again, I don't think Olli Määttä alone will fix it, but it'll help. It'll definitely help. He is a borderline NHL defenseman, we'll say. But he'll definitely be playing for Utah. So an attempt at trying to plug that gap from Utah, so that's decent. Speaking of decent, we got... Oh, where do we go? Oh, St. Louis. Let's talk about St. Louis for a minute. They did get absolutely mutilated last night by Ottawa. My fault. I picked up Joe Hofer. I was like, oh, Joe Hofer, he's been good this season. He hasn't played in a while. I'm gonna pick him up. 5 goals on, 16 shots or something. Horrific. Just destroyed my fantasy week. Thanks a lot, Joe Hofer. God, you're dead to me now, by the way. I'll never touch you again. So they got lit the fuck up. But prior to that, St. Louis has been a fairly decent team, man. Like, not too bad. Doing a little bit better than I think some people were expecting. And definitely pissing off Edmonton Oilers fans, because Broberg has been excellent for St. Louis. He's putting up a bunch of points. He was on like an 8-game point streak. Then I picked him up, and that point streak ended, of course. But he's back at it, man. He got another point the other night. And, what's his name? Holloway has been pretty solid for them as well. I think he got the only goal. So the Edmonton acquisitions for St. Louis have been really good for them. But they're currently on a 2-game winning streak. All right, they're not as awesome as I thought. But last night, Binnington got into another one of his classic moments where he's acting like a tough guy, and Allmark wanted to fight him, and Binnington's just a big old baby. He's like, nah, I'm just fucking around. I want to get my ass kicked. We all know he would get his ass kicked. But St. Louis, at least their new additions in Broberg has been excellent. He's got 7 points in 9 games. And Dylan Holloway has 3 goals in 9 games. So, not amazing, but not bad. But they got absolutely wrecked the other night by Ottawa. There is some talks around Binnington as he could be potentially a goaltender to play for Canada at the Frozen Four or whatever tournament. There's definitely potential. There has been some rumblings around and some arguments about what kind of players should be on Team Canada. There's talks around guys like Tom Wilson and guys like Adam Lowry in Winnipeg because, yes, they may not be super highly skilled like a Connor Bedard or a Connor McDavid, but they bring that grit and you have to have a team built. You can't just have a Team Canada that is just all skill and no toughness. So obviously a guy like Tom Wilson would definitely get into the other team's faces. Adam Lowry ain't shy with that shit either. They're excellent defensively. Well, Tom Wilson, he's a physical guy for sure. So yeah, I would love to see those kind of guys on the fourth line playing for Team Canada. I know Tom Wilson has slowed down with the goals. He's not Tom Vetchkin anymore. He's on his 4-game goal streak. I don't think he's done anything since his little goal spree, which was awesome. But hey, at least St. Louis back to Binnington. I could see him potentially being the goalie. There aren't a lot of Canadian-born goaltenders out there that are tops in the leagues. A lot of the goaltenders that are best in the world right now are Russian. You got Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, fucking is Shesterkin Russian? He sounds Russian, but anyway, Team Russia is going to have a hell of a choice to choose in net. But yes, those talks are starting with Team Canada. Once we get closer, we'll start maybe like predicting what Team Canada would look like. Let's get back to injury news. So good for St. Louis. I mean, not really. They're not doing that great, but hey, at least Broberg is doing good. And man, does Edmonton ever look like they can use Broberg right now. Let's go over, talk about Edmonton for a moment. Connor McDavid has been injured, and everybody in the world collectively held their breath to see how bad it was. Now, apparently, I still don't really have a solid answer on how long he's going to be. All it says is that he avoided the worst. So it sounds like maybe a week-to-week, day-to-day, something like that. It doesn't sound majorly serious. But yeah, that's obviously a major blow to the Edmonton Oilers, losing the best player in the game, the best player on their team. But hey, they have a guy called Leon Draisaitl, and we saw this effect in Pittsburgh for years and years. Whenever Crosby goes down, who steps up to the plate and plays his best hockey every single time? It's Evgeny Malkin. And I believe Draisaitl has a history of this as well. When McDavid goes down, Draisaitl takes the ball and he runs with it. He is fantastic, and he has been playing better. He's starting to get it going. Edmonton, kind of getting it going. They were winning, and then they lost again. They got wrecked by Columbus the other night. That is not okay. 6-1 you guys lost to Columbus. That is fucked up. Not acceptable. So Oilers are still not out of it yet. They have a battle, and it's only going to get tougher. Not having Connor McDavid in there, that absolutely sucks. We'll see how bad it is. Again, I haven't read anything yet other than he avoided the worst. It's a upper body injury, I think I read. Anyway, I should have better info on that, but don't. So there you go. Connor McDavid is down. Everyone in fantasy that has Connor McDavid is freaking out right now. Me, as a Leon Draisaitl owner, I'm very excited to see how explosive Leon Draisaitl can be when he's in charge. So that could be good for Leon Draisaitl holders, but for Edmonton Oiler fans, not great losing Connor McDavid and getting wrecked by Columbus the other night. So it's been a rough week for Edmonton Oilers fans. I still expect them to pull out of it and be fine. We saw what they did last year. They're kind of a notoriously slow starting team. So I imagine they'll get it going. This could be a rallying point. Everyone, once they shit on Edmonton, they can't do nothing without McDavid. It could be a rallying point for them. We know Zach Hyman really needs to get going. He has been very cold, and he's got to get it going. So hopefully Oilers, all those guys get it going. And speaking of getting it going, let's go to one of the first teams in the East that are always in the potential of getting into the playoffs, but never make it. Let's start with the Buffalo Sabres, who have been off. Well, they were off to an awful start. Things have gotten slightly better, but not so good that it looks like they're going to make the playoffs or anything. But Buffalo did have some very, very impressive wins over the last week here. They not only took out the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, on the road. I believe they did that in Florida's building, beat them 5-2 in pretty dominating fashion. They followed up with a loss to Pittsburgh and Columbus, but then they go on a 3-game winning streak with wins over Chicago and the Dallas Stars. So they took down Dallas, who is one of the best teams in the West. They took down the Florida Panthers, one of the best teams in the East, and the defending Stanley Cup champions, and to beat Detroit. But then they lost to the Panthers 5-2 the other night. So, there's some encouragement there. There has been some better play out of their bigger players. Like Tage Thompson has come back to life. He is, well, hold on. How many goals does he have? Yes, he has 7 goals in 10 games. I think Tage Thompson is back, everybody. He's coming off of a down year through injuries and shit like that. He looks like he's back, man. He's got 12 points in 10 games. 7 of those are goals. That is good. Alex Tuch looks like he's back to having another good season. 10 games, 9 points, 3 goals. And Owen Power, look at him go. He's got 8 points in 10 games, 2 goals. Pretty good. And then JJ Peterka, this guy. He had a really good showing last season and kind of a breakout for him, and he's continuing to play well. 8 games, 8 points, 4 goals, 4 assists. And then the rest of the team. Not Jason Zucker's doing bad. He's got 7 points. But Rasmus Dahlin, only 6 points in 10 games and only 1 goal. He scored over 20 goals last year as a defenseman. So that's a little bit alarming. Bowen Byram, he's only got 4 points. That's okay because they kind of have too much on that left side. They have Dahlin, Owen Power, and Bowen Byram. It'd be great if they can get one of those guys to play on the right or something. But yeah, Bowen Byram's not going to have a ton of points, but not bad. And then Dylan Cousins has been struggling, bro. He's got no goals in 10 games, only 3 assists, and he is a -2. No one is a glaring minus on this team just yet. The worst would be Jack Quinn. He's a -4. That's about the worst, and he's the rookie, so that's it kind of comes with that territory. But yeah, man, they're definitely a team that is kind of struggling to score, at least depth-wise. They are getting goals from the top guys, but right now they're right in the middle, or in the middle-ish, 15th place, 3.2 goals per game, but they're allowing too many goals, 3.6 goals against per game. And the worst thing about Buffalo right now is their horrific power play, 6.9%. That is the worst in the NHL, and wow, that is bad. That is a very bad power play. Not scoring very many goals at all, and their penalty kill, pretty bad too. 74%, 24th in the league right now. And a lot of weight was put on Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's shoulders. He was playing great down the stretch, got himself an extension, and in 7 games, he's got 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 overtime loss, 3.31 goals against, and an .890 save percentage. So, not ideal. Not the play that he was playing with late in the season last year down the stretch, more like how he started the season last year. And that's how she goes, man. That's how it goes with goaltenders. They can play good down the stretch, but you got to take that with a grain of salt. When your team's out of the playoffs and you're not battling, your games won't be as competitive. Teams won't play you as hard as they're going to play a team that's in the playoffs, a real test. So I'm not it's a good chance that teams were playing down to Buffalo when they played Buffalo down the stretch, and that allowed Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to shine. But Devin Levi not doing much better himself. He's got a 3.79 goals against and an .874 save percentage. So yeah, not good either. And again, this goaltending tandem, very young, fairly unproven. It's not working for them, so that's not good. And yeah, man, they got to figure out that power play. It's not looking good for Buffalo. All they have is that they're doing decently at scoring 5-on-5, which is good. I mean, that's very good, but you got to figure out how to get some goals on the power play, and you got to learn how to defend. And their D-core just isn't that strong. They have a lot of high-end talent there and their first overall picks, and they got Bowen Byram over there, but are they defensively stalwart-type defensemen on this team? They do have Samuelson, who is a good defenseman. He's playing, and he's there, but he's kind of the only guy, right? So, I don't know, man. Doesn't look like Buffalo is going to make it this season either. Just, I know Buffalo doesn't want to hear it, but at this point, they're going to have to really turn it around, and I just don't see it on this team, man. The young guys, they haven't really taken another step. Zach Benson's got 0 points in 6 games. He might have been sent down already by now. Jack Quinn's only got 1 goal in his 9 games. So, yeah, the young guys aren't really taking another step forward. Dylan Cousins is very, very struggling. The only guy that's really taking a step forward or continuing to play how good he was last year is JJ Peterka. So he's been good. And listening to the 32 Thoughts podcast this week, Elliott talking about the Buffalo Sabres and how they don't have a true first line. They have a really top-notch second line, as playing as their first line, but he's saying that Buffalo doesn't have a top line, an NHL-worthy top line. And I mean, at this point, I will agree with that. Absolutely. Like Tage Thompson, sure, yeah, he could be a top line winger on most teams, I would say. But do they have a top center? Do they have other top wingers? Like, I don't see Alex Tuch as a top first line player. JJ Peterka, no. Like, yeah, I think Buffalo still needs to build up a top line. And right now, their young guys haven't emerged to be, there yet to play on that top line. Not Benson, not Quinn. So I don't really know what to say, man, with Buffalo. It almost looks like they need another first overall, second overall type player that isn't a defenseman this time to get into their lineup to help them score, because they need some dynamic, crazy skill on that front end, and I just don't see it right now outside of Tage Thompson. I love Alex Tuch. I love that player, but he's trying his best out there, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough for the Buffalo Sabres again this season. So that's my 2 cents on the Buffalo Sabres. Let's go over to the Red Wings. They're doing, very, not quite the same level as the Buffalo Sabres, but again, they're at NHL 500, 4-4-1 are the Detroit Red Wings. They're 5th in the Atlantic. Goals for, 24th in the league. Goals against has been pretty damn good. They're 13th in the league right now, even though it's at a 3.11, which is pretty high. Power play's okay at 18.5, and their penalty kill is trash. 30th in the league, 66.6%. So let's take a closer look at the Detroit Red Wings and see what's going on here. So, do they have a goaltender? Do they have a goaltending issue? Well, Alex Lyon may be here again to save the Detroit Red Wings. He almost got it done for them last year, and he's playing well again, but is he going to be the answer? He's played in 5 games, got 2 wins, 2 losses, a 2.05 goals against, and a 940 save percentage, which is incredible. Again, small sample size, only 5 games, but he's shown he can do this before. He's done this before. He's got a shutout. I think he shut out the Islanders in a 1-0 game. So Alex Lyon showing that, hey, baby, maybe I'm the answer. And Cam Talbot, he's been pretty good too, actually. 913 save percentage, 3.16 goals against. Not ideal. And then the Ville Husso thing. He got waived, and rightfully so. He's got a 9.60 goals against. How is that possible? And a 714 save percentage. Yikes. So if Alex Lyon can continue, there's no way he's going to continue with the 940, but both those goaltenders are playing well. Like, I see why they're 13th in the league for goals against, because their goalies 913 and 940. That's outstanding through 10 games. Not bad. And then the goal scoring. That's where they're starting to get a little bit of a problem here. So Lucas Raymond, off of his big contract, he's got 8 points in 9 games, but only 1 goal. So he's got to score some more goals. Patrick Kane, unreal for what he is right now. 7 points in 9 games, pretty good. 2 goals. Alex DeBrincat's got 4 goals. Andrew Kopp's got 4 goals. So Andrew Kopp is looks like he is rebounding after a couple of fairly rough seasons. So that's good to see out of Andrew Kopp. Moritz Seider, kind of an okay start. 5 points in 9 games, only the 1 goal. Dylan Larkin off to a fucking slow start. What's up with this? 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points in 9 games. That is not Dylan Larkin numbers. 4 goals is decent, but he's got to get some more points. You got to do better than that, Dylan. Come on, nah. So that could be an issue. It's nice to see Simon Edvinsson is playing a fairly big role with the Detroit Red Wings this year. He's playing over 20 minutes a game, I saw, and he's got 4 points in 9 games. So that is encouraging. That could be a big-time player for the Detroit Red Wings in the future, or even now. If Detroit Red Wing fans are listening, how has Edvinsson been playing so far? I haven't gotten a chance to watch him, but looking at the numbers, looking really encouraging. Vladimir Tarasenko's not scoring. Eric Gustafsson's not scoring. He's only been in 6 games. Christian Fischer's not scoring. He's only got 1 goal. Jeff Petry's got nothing. 1 assist in 6 games. Justin Hull, obviously nothing. Joe Veleno's got 1 assist in 9 games. No goals out of him. Oli Matt is gone, but he played in 7 games, so he was playing for the Detroit Red Wings. Oh boy. So yeah, they're definitely struggling to find goals throughout the lineup. Dylan Larkin's got to step it up. But at least their goaltending has been good. It's just, yeah, does Detroit also kind of struggle the same way that Buffalo is? Like, do they have a true top line? Like, Patrick Kane, like 5 years ago, absolutely. Is Patrick Kane a top line player in the NHL today? I wouldn't think so. Lucas Raymond, is he a bona fide top line player now? I don't think just yet. And kind of showing that he only has the one goal. He is getting points, though. Alex DeBrincat, sure, a top-line player, but a top-line player on a Stanley Cup contender, probably better off on a second line. Andrew Kopp, like an amazing third line, but a good second-line player. Moritz Seider, is he a bona fide top-2 defenseman now? Arguably, yes, I would say so. I mean, if he was on the Leafs, he would probably be the best defenseman, arguably. I mean, OEL has been fucking unreal. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But Detroit, man, I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of encouraging things out of the team early. Again, Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider, they're going to be a little bit behind because they missed training camp. But, 8 points in 9 games is pretty fucking decent for a guy that missed training camp. It's just the one goal that is a little bit alarming to me. He needs to get up to that 30-plus goal mark if he's going to start earning, being worthy of that contract that he signed. And yeah, man, it's just not enough goal scoring from Detroit right now. And I don't know if they really have all that top-line skill to really get it done all through and through. So their penalty kill, got to work on that, which is interesting because their goaltenders are really good. So maybe that was just a bad game with Ville Husso in there. But Detroit, another team, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, man. They don't look strong out of the gate. You really needed to be strong out of the gate. Like the Ottawa Senators. Let's talk about the Ottawa Senators, who have some fucking impressive stats right here. Their record isn't anything crazy yet. It's 5-4-0, so they're one game above 500, fourth in the Atlantic right now, but a better start than the usual Ottawa Senators go off for, and they're scoring by will right now. They are third in the league at 4.22 goals for per game. They are scoring a lot of goals. They lit up St. Louis last night. I probably should have. I thought it in my head. I was like, I know Ottawa can score, but I was like, Joe Horford's been hot, and he got lit up. So goals against, they are struggling there still. Even with Ullmark, he is back. He missed a few games with injury. He's back. He played good last night. So that could get better now that Ullmark is back. But 3.44, 23rd in the league. They got to work on that. What they don't need to work on is their power play. 42.9%, second in the league. Like I said, man, this team can score. That is crazy. That is a very good power play. Their penalty kill could use some work as well. So as you can see, Ottawa, they found their goal scoring touch. They still need to work defensively. They got to get tighter there. But they could end up scoring their way to enough wins to get them into the playoffs. If their goal scoring starts to dry up, then they're in big trouble. So, penalty kill, 76%. They got to work on that, like I said. So, over the last few games here, last night was a very impressive win against St. Louis, 8-1. They played decently against a couple of tough opponents here in Vegas and Colorado. They weren't able to keep the puck out of their own net, but they battled, and then they shut out Utah. That's not too difficult. A very impressive win against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then that insane game against the Los Angeles Kings, 8-7. So they've kind of been win 2, lose 2, win 1. So if they can get back onto the winning, they did lose to very good teams right there. Colorado's hot, Vegas is super hot. So you can't take away too much. They were able to score, and they took it all out on St. Louis. So their next game is against the Rangers. That is going to be another big test for the Ottawa Senators. See if they can beat Shesterkin. But some encouragement here for sure out of Ottawa. Let's take a look at the goaltending so far. So Forsberg has taken the brunt of the game so far. Well, sort of. He's played 5. Ullmark's played 4. Forsberg a 2-2 record, 3.27 goals against, and an .895 save percentage. Not ideal. And then Ullmark. Not great either, man. He's got a 335 goals against and an .885 save percentage. So even worse than Anton Forsberg. So that's not what they brought Ullmark in to do. He has a good... No, that's not true either. He doesn't even have a good win-loss record yet. So they gotta get that going. They got one win out of Mad Sogard. He did not play well. So, yeah, obviously there is a problem. I don't know if, I think it's probably more of a defense issue because they do still have a very young defense in Jake Sanderson, Nick Jensen, Thomas Chabot. They have Jacob Bernard-Docker. He's a young guy. Tyler Clevin, I don't even know who that is. Artem Zub is fairly young. Travis Hamnick, he's a veteran. But it's still a fairly young and learning blue line. But point-wise, I mean, we're doing really good here. It's probably because I didn't draft any Ottawa Senators. I drafted Tim Stützle last year. He had his worst year. And now I don't have him. He's doing great. So Brady Tkachuk is doing awesome, 11 points in 8 games. Stützle, 10 points in 8 games. Drake Batherson's having a great run, 10 points, 5 goals, 5 assists. Claude Giroux, the ageless wonder, 9 points in 8 games. He's been good. There's a lot of minuses, though. There's some pretty glaring minuses, like Jake Sanderson's, a -5 with 7 points. So, and that's your best defenseman, so not good. You don't want to have your best defenseman as a -5, and that is... only Michael Amadio and Travis Hamonic, they are a -5 and a -6 respectively. David Perron played in 5 games. He's a -4. That's bad. That's not good. I don't know what's going on with him right there, but their big guys are doing well. Josh Norris, 7 points in 8 games. Jake Sanderson, 7 points, 8 games. So the big boys are playing good. Thomas Chabot, 4 points in 8 games is... I know, I think Sanderson's taken over his spot, so he's not going to get as many points as he used to. Shane Pinto's been okay, not as good as he was when he came back last season. 3 points in 6 games. And is there anyone here that we're really worried about not getting points? Ridley Gregg only has the 1 goal, but he's only played in 5 games, so that's not too bad. But the top guys are scoring. Really, all Ottawa's got to figure out is they got to try and do a little bit better in front of their own net and play better on the penalty kill. They got to play better defense, but that could also sacrifice their offense, which is winning them the games right now. But we all know defense wins championships. That's not really what Ottawa is about right now. They just want to make the playoffs, and if scoring a bunch of goals is going to get them there, then so be it. It will go bad for them in the playoffs because goals dry up. I've seen it a million times, but hey, right now, Ottawa's doing pretty good. I could see them getting into a playoff spot. Absolutely, because Boston's struggling, and it doesn't look like Detroit or Buffalo wants to take it just yet, and Ottawa is the front runner. So out of those 3 teams, Ottawa definitely has the best shot right now. They have the best stats. If they can clean up that goaltending and Ullmark starts to play the way that they brought him in for, and he can start stealing some games for the Ottawa Senators, keep that goal scoring going, Ottawa could be a problem, man. They could be hard to stop. So really impressive. Well, not really impressive, but an encouraging start for the Ottawa Senators. Let me know what you think. Which of those 3 teams are going to make the playoffs, or will all 3 of them miss it again, and Boston will get their shit together and get back to it? And speaking of Boston getting their shit back together, they kind of got their shit back together against the Toronto Maple Leafs on last weekend, Saturday. So let's talk about the Leafs and all that shit. Oh boy, so Toronto, rough week it was. I know they just came off of a nice win there against Winnipeg, but let's go backwards. Let's get back to that ugly week that was. The horrible game against Columbus, we kind of all saw that coming. All saw it coming. They play the best game they had all year against Tampa, and then they just lay an absolute egg in Columbus. I mean, we all kind of saw it coming. And then the St. Louis game. This is where the real problems start to come through. And I'm like, this could be bad. So, encouraging, Joseph Woll returns. Did he play well? No. Did he play bad? No. The team in front of him played bad, for sure. They definitely did not help at all in Joseph Woll's return. They did not help Craig Berube in his return to his former team that fired him. They got embarrassed 5-1 by St. Louis, and they just got stomped by Ottawa 8-1. So that's the team you lost to. You had all the encouragement in the world to whoop ass in that game. You're playing for Joseph Woll, you're playing for your new coach, and you fucking laid an egg again. Really bad, man. Not a pleasant game. I didn't get to witness these games. I was working, but I did get to see the Boston game. I did watch that. That was Morgan Riley's 800th game as a Toronto Maple Leaf, and he scored in that game. Pretty nice goal. Morgan Riley scoring some goals this year. That's nice to see, but that first period was fucking rough. Ugly hockey by the Leafs. Couldn't make a pass. It was bad, man. And let's talk John Tavares again for a minute. He's been bad. He's been bad. I know he just got a hat trick. He looked good in that game, obviously. But prior to that, he's been bad. Like, bad. And I know he was sick, and he lost 8 pounds or whatever, which definitely would have affected him. So, but regardless, he looks slow. He is struggling to get into the offensive zone. Like, it has been a problem. So that is something I'm definitely going to key in on. I will be watching John Tavares this year. But again, with a grain of salt. We all knew that this is what it was going to be in year 7 of the deal. We knew this. But they are like kind of forcing it, like keeping him on the power play when he shouldn't have been. So again, I'll keep my eye on John Tavares. I watched the highlights for the Winnipeg game. I didn't get to watch it, obviously, but he looked good. The team played, good until they didn't, until the classic Leaf shit started to come in. But back to Boston. That was the most Leaf game I watched all year. That was the most Leaf game ever, probably. Leafs got the lead. They quickly lost that lead. Marner Matthews, nasty tip play to tie it up late in the third period. That was gorgeous. And Marner had, again, a good and bad game at the same time. Yes, he got 3 assists. He assisted on all 3 of the regular time goals. But he also had the game-winning goal on his stick in a wide-open net, and he didn't even think shoot. He only thought pass, passed it in a wide-open net, and they didn't score. What the fuck, dude? Like, it's becoming an issue having Marner and Domi being so well-known that they will not shoot that puck, that they're not even a threat. You have to show that your shot is a threat. And we know Marner's shot is a threat. He scored 30 goals. He can score. He just likes to pass more. And it's infuriating. It's like watching him when he played with the Knights. This is not the OHL. This is not make 7 extra passes and make a gorgeous highlight play. This is put the fucking puck in the net. You're in the NHL. So, I've had these problems with Marner. It reminds me of Kadri when Kadri showed up. What is it with these fucking London Knight guys? Everything's got to be so fancy. I don't want fancy. I want wins. I don't care. Shoot the puck into the empty, stupid net, you stupid idiot. God, that picture was infuriating. That play was infuriating. And he does this all the time. He always passes it. When he has the shot, he doesn't take it. And when he takes it, he misses. So, same with Matthews. Matthews has been missing the net egregiously this year, man. He has been missing so many things that should be 99.5% of the time that's going in, he's just missing it. And all I hear is wham, fucking puck hitting the board. Drives me crazy. So, speaking of drives me crazy, that overtime in Boston. What the fuck, Matthews? What was that? Pass to nothing. Of course it's Marchand getting the overtime winning goal. You knew it was coming. He had no goals coming in. You know he was going to get one. And why not the game fucking winner? So that's great. I'm obviously not mad at all about that game. But I'll touch on the Boston little controversy with Montgomery pushing Marchand or whatever on the bench. It's a nothing. It's nothing to me. That's just... It may be alarming to some people to see a coach touching a player physically, but I know I sound like an old man, but they always do that. Like, geez, Marchand said it was fine. He's like, yeah, I made a boneheaded play and it cost us a goal, and he called me out on that. Like, we need that. We need more of that. And I agree with that. If you fuck up, you should be reprimanded for that. You can't just let that slide and be like, that's okay. That's fine. We'll get him next time, Brad. No, you're the captain of the Boston freaking Bruins. That is not acceptable, and he was completely fine with that. If the shoe was on the other foot and this was Marner wouldn't he would be all poopy pants after if he was interviewed. Say Craig Berube shits all over him for not taking that shot in the empty net. What would Marner do? He'd be like, oh, well, I was trying to think about my teammates. He would come up with all these excuses. He would not take the blame for that. He would not be like, yeah, I should have just shot that. Like, he's right. I was overthinking it, and that's what I think he does a lot of the time. Just simplify your game. Why do you need to make all these ridiculous fancy passes? I don't care. I don't want a highlight pass. I don't want a highlight goal every time for you. Just get the puck in the stupid net. All right, so they blow that game with a horrible overtime with the stupidest play I've ever seen. So they blew that one. That was good. And then in Winnipeg, they almost did the same thing. They allowed Winnipeg to get back into it, showing that, again, they will struggle to hold on to leads because they've let their foot off the gas. They do it every time. Why? You know they're coming for you, so why take your foot off the gas, man? There's just, and especially against a team like Winnipeg, the best team in a freaking league that hadn't lost a game yet, and you're like, oh, let's just let them get back into it. Kyle Connor, 3 goals. How you fucking doing? He could have got more. They probably, if there's just a few more minutes on the clock, Winnipeg would have tied it, and the Leafs are losing it in overtime because they're terrible in overtime. They're terrible at all that shit. So Winnipeg, I mean, I'm not all that impressed with that win. Yeah, it was impressive at first. They lit up Hellebuck. Hellebuck did not have a good game. Neither did Stolarz. I had them both in net that night, and they both sucked. So that was the first bad-ish game from Stolarz. Outside of that, he's been probably their MVP outside of like OEL, who has been amazing. Let's talk about OEL for a second. This guy might be the best player on the ice, the best skater on the ice, dude. Every time he's on the ice, I notice him. He's doing good things. He's pinching at the right time. He's getting offense. I am immensely impressed at what OEL has done with the Toronto Maple Leafs so far. People are saying, like, we got the Arizona Coyotes version of OEL, where there's that offense and this all-around defenseman that is just great. The guy that earned that $8 million contract, that's kind of the guy we're seeing right now, which is way more than we expected. So that is awesome. Jake McCabe got an extension. Well, I think it's a little bit expensive. I'm not really a huge fan of that deal, honestly. All being considered, like, they said that he took a pay cut. I don't know how $4.51 million is a pay cut. I don't know if I don't know, man. Like, he's been a good defenseman, but he makes, like, he's a good defenseman for $2 million, right? Because when he makes those terrible mistakes, you're like, he's on a bargain deal. That's okay. Now he's making 4.5. When he makes that bad pass or that bad play in a defensive zone, it's going to be magnified big time. I can easily see Jake McCabe becoming the next Toronto Maple Leafs whipping boy after Liljegren gets traded away or something. But, yeah, man, I think it's a little bit pricey, honestly, for me. I don't think he took much of a pay cut. Yeah, he probably could have got more in free agency, but hold on. How old is this guy? 31 years old, and they gave him a 4-year extension? Let me see here. This website. 5-year extension. Oh, no. So, fuck, man, that's not a good deal at all. I'm not impressed. It's a whatever. It's just like a meh deal. It's not a good deal. It's not bad yet, but it'll quickly get bad. I can see that happening for sure. So, since we're on deals here, let's talk about the deal that pissed off everybody, except for me. I don't really care, but Vegas at it again and absolutely stealing Shea Theodore for 7 years, $7.425 million. And Shea Theodore is an excellent defenseman. Everybody universally is shitting all over this deal because it is so good for Vegas. Easily, like, they're saying, easily took $1.5 million pay cut or something like that. And, like, yeah, that starts the argument of the no tax state, which, yes, it is clearly an advantage. There's no way that it isn't. Look at the deals that the Leafs have to sign because they got to give them this extra 20% because of fucking taxes in Canada are outrageous. And then you go to places like Dallas and you got guys, Rupe Heinz signing for amazing deals, Ottinger signing for amazing deals, Tampa Bay, no taxes. People are Kucherov, Vasilevsky, Hedman, all amazing deals. Do we need to go to Florida? Let's go there. Matty Tkachuk, Barkov, all on amazing deals. Sam Reinhart, amazing deals. Yes, there is without a doubt a very, very big advantage for the no-tax teams. They could take less money. They can offer less money. They can just give them a better package because you don't have to pay taxes. Taxes suck. And that's why those places are the marquee places to play right now. Vegas, Dallas, what's the other one? Florida. Everyone wants to play in Florida. No taxes. It's nice to live there. In Canada, high taxes. Not a great place to live. It's cold. It's dark. It's dank. It's fucking the dank. I'm mad. You know what? I am mad. I'm jealous. I'm jealous that my Toronto Maple Leafs, our Canadian market teams, our markets with taxes, have to pay everybody more because taxes. Get rid of the taxes. I hate taxes. The hand thing means the taxes. All right. Well, good for Vegas. They do it again. They get another amazing player for an amazing deal. what else is new, man? I mean, that's just how it always goes. Let's talk about some other deals I think I may have missed. Joey Daccord got a 5-year, $25 million extension, $5 million per year for the goaltender. Risky. Definitely risky. These $5 million deals with goalies are always the ones that seem to be generally a miss. You know, you're looking at the guys like Robin Lehner. You're looking at guys like... I have one like Kemper. That guy, was it Peterson or the one that was in LA and now he's in Philadelphia? That guy got a $5 million deal. So these ones are risky. These are definitely the flip a coin deals and the flip a coin goaltender, because I don't know if Joey Daccord is a $5 million goalie tomorrow. I don't really know if he's necessarily a $5 million goalie today. How has he played so far this season? Okay. Yeah, she's played okay. 910 save percentage, 295 goals against. That's pretty decent. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all, but it's risky, man. 5 years, $5 million. It could be amazing. It can also be bad. I mean, we've seen how good it can be with guys like Shesterkin. He signed like a $5-some-odd million deal and it was outstanding. And now he's going to get like $12-13 million. So that's cool. Jake Ottinger, I don't know if I touched on his deal, but he got the 8-year extension worth $8.25. The most popular goalie number right now. Great deal for the Dallas Stars. I feel more encouraged that Ottinger will be a consistently good goalie more than I feel about it with Swayman. Ottinger's had more performances in the regular season. He's shown that he can play great in the playoffs. He plays even better in the playoffs. Usually, he is still young, so obviously there's always going to be a risk with a goaltender in an 8-year deal. But this is one of the ones I feel most encouraged with. So Ottinger, I like that deal. Other big ones right now, nothing too big. Jake Neighbors got a 2-year extension worth $3.75 million, and he's been hot lately. He is definitely a bit of a streaky scorer. I noticed that last year. He was fucking white hot, and then he'll go cold. Very standard for your snipers. They will go cold, but right now Jake Neighbors is hot, and he got himself a bridge deal. So we'll see if that leads to a potential bigger deal in the future. Jake Neighbors just got to put some more goals in the net. That made sense. Matt Martin did sign a deal with the New York Islanders. No information on the terms of that deal, but Matt Martin, Islanders legend, coming back. And excuse me, and I think that's pretty much all the big signings. I talked about that one trade. So yeah, we're doing okay. And speaking of doing okay, the Florida Panthers are doing okay because they just extended coach Paul Maurice. I didn't see how many years, but he got extended, and why? Of course he's going to get extended. Dude just won a cup. His team is fully bought into his system. So yeah, I mean, Paul Maurice has been a revelation for the Florida Panthers. Might have another Stanley Cup within that deal. We'll have to wait and see. You don't have to wait for Barkov anymore because Barkov is back for the Florida Panthers, which is bad for Anton Lundell, who did fantastic in Barkov's absence. He's been really good. So if you have him on your fantasy team, try and trade him now before his points stop going in because Barkov is back. So I did miss out on some other pretty big injuries around the league. Thomas, what's his first name? Riley? No. Matt? No. Something Thomas. Thomas from St. Louis, that guy, he is really hurt. He fractured his ankle and he will be out for 6 weeks. And that is arguably St. Louis's best offensive forward. And that's going to hurt them, man. That's definitely going to hurt them, hence the 8-1 loss. But yeah, so that's going to hurt them. Also in Seattle, Vince Dunn is on the injured reserve, which is bad. I mean, they also just lit up the Montreal Canadiens for an 8-2 win, so it doesn't look bad right now, but it was bad when it initially happened. And speaking of really bad, I don't want to kick a dead horse while it's down, but the San Jose Sharks, they're on a 9+ game losing streak right now, and I think they just broke the record for back-to-back 8+ game losing streaks to kick off a season. I will say that San Jose has looked better. Like, I remember last year, they were losing like 8-1, 8-0 or something. They had like 2 of those games back-to-back, and then their coach was like, enough of this shit, play better, and then they played a little bit better. I would say they're already at that level, if not a little bit better than that, but yeah, the wins aren't coming, even if they are playing a little bit better. a little bit better, still is quite a ways away from being a very competitive NHL team. And obviously the lack of Celebrini, that really fucking sucks. Puts a big hamper on their just the whole season. Like, everyone was so excited to see him, and you got a little taste, and now he's already gone. So it's like, fuck. And now with this big losing streak, it's got to suck right now for San Jose fans. Like, I mean, at least you're probably due for another really good pick, and if you happen to get the first overall pick, I can't remember his name right now, but the kid who is turning all the heads right now, he's a defenseman, and apparently he's touted to be the first overall pick, and it looks like he's going to be really good. It'd be nice if San Jose can get a top defenseman now. They got a lot of forwards. I think the forward-wise, they're doing okay. Toffoli has been a really good addition for them. He's been scoring and helping out. But, yeah, man, lots of losing going on in San Jose. I don't know, like, when the bleeding will stop. I think they might have actually won a game now. But regardless, they lost 9 in a row. That's bad. And speaking of bad, the Philadelphia Flyers are also on a pretty big losing streak themselves. Definitely not playing like the team that they were last year. Last year, they just had great coaching from Tortorella. They would wear down teams, be defensively responsible, and it doesn't look like it's working out so hot for the Flyers this time around. Let's see, how many losses have they had in a row now, if we can just get that to load the old schedule here. So they got a nice, they got a couple of wins. Look at them go. They got a win against Minnesota, 7-5 win, and they just shut out the Bruins 2-0. But prior to that, 6-game losing streak for the Flyers. And they've been pretty kind of win one, lose one prior to that. So that's going to hurt them. I'm not going to say that 6-game losing streak will end their season, but that's definitely going to put them in a pretty big hole in a tough division. So they're currently 7th in the Metro. They're 3-6-1, 23rd for goals, 28th for goals against, 12th for power play, pretty good. And their penalty kill's 5th. What the fuck? That is a strange situation right there. So they're struggling to score 5-on-5, and they're struggling to keep the puck out of their net 5-on-5. So that's interesting. That's something going on right there with Philadelphia. But hey, big win over the Bruins. That's good right there. The Bruins are struggling. Maybe we'll talk more about the Bruins next week. But I want to jump over to Minnesota, who had the streak is over now, but they had a ridiculous streak of being in the lead, which was, I can't recall if they did beat that record, but they're on the cusp of it, of being the first team to be leading in that many games since the Boston Bruins in 1969. Nice, 69. That's very impressive, man. And the Minnesota Wild have been fairly impressive. Like, considering, the $14 million in cap recapture from the buyouts of Parise and Suter, hampering them in terms of salary cap, they are punching above their weight class, I would say, right now. And a big part of that is Kaprizov, who has been fucking ridiculous. But across the board, except for their penalty kill, they're doing well. A record of 6-1-3. They're 3rd in the Central, which is higher than I would have had them. They got their 3.78 goals for is 7th. Goals against 2.56 is 5th. Their power play is 7th, and their penalty kill is 27th. So their penalty kill's got to get some work. But Kirill the Thrill, 15 points already. The guy has been ridiculous, an absolute superstar. In only 8 games, he's got 15 points. Matt Boldy is off to a great start. Matt Zuccarello, still loving being line mates with Kirill Kaprizov. Marco Rossi's been off to a pretty good start. Joel Eriksson Ek is off to a good start after coming back from injury. Yeah, man, like, this team is doing well, like, way better than expected. And another big member of why they're doing so well is the goaltending of Philip Gustafsson. He has been outstanding. Found his form that he had 2 years ago when he first showed up in Minnesota. He was lights out, and he looks like he's lights out again. 6 games, 4-1-1 record, 2.17 goals against, and a .922 save percentage. That is outstanding. So if he can keep that up, Minnesota could be in a playoff spot. If that can just continue, Kirill the Thrill still stays healthy, Minnesota could be sneaking into the playoffs, which has to be incredibly encouraging for the Minnesota Wild, because I believe it's next year that cap recapture finally comes off the books, and they will be $14 million richer, so they can use that. I mean, just because you have the money doesn't mean it'll work and your team will be amazing or anything. But if you use that money effectively and put it on the right players, Minnesota could be a big issue next season. So very impressive for Minnesota. They've been able to play way better than I expected. And same with the Washington Capitals. They as well have been playing very well for, I mean, not really the biggest shock because, I mean, they did make it to the playoffs last year. Yes, they shouldn't have, and they're one of the worst teams. Well, they were the worst team last year to make it, but also one of the worst teams to just ever make it into the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, the Capitals and their new additions have been playing very well for them. So goals for, they're 6th in the league. Goals against, they're 10th. Their power play is awful. It's at 7.4%, 31st in the league. So there's only one team worse than them. And that sucks because they got, that Ovechkin guy you might have heard about. He's there. He used to be, he is currently has the most power play goals in NHL history. So yeah, but their penalty kill is good, 11th place. And yeah, man, their team has been pretty decent, man. Dylan frickin' Strome has been really good for them. He's got 9 points in 7 games. Connor McMichael is breaking out. He's having a nice start to the season. Tom Wilson, he slowed down, but he's still playing well. John Carlson's playing really good. Pierre-Luc Dubois got 5 points in 7 games. He had one big game there with 1 goal, 2 assists, but that could just be the start. And hopefully he can start getting the points a little bit more consistently because I'm seeing a lot of zeros across the board. He just needs to start getting more consistent. And Alex Ovechkin scored his first 2 goals last night. That was awesome. He's got 5 points in 7 games. Not horrible. I mean, 2 goals over 7 games. I think that's in and around like 25, 30 goals or something like that. So we know Ovi is capable of some goal-scoring explosions where he can score like 6 goals in 3 games or something. So I think he is still capable of doing that. And then Alexei Protas has been really impressive. Massive son of a bitch. He's playing on the top line, I believe, right now. Jacob Chychrun's been a good addition for them. He's got 4 points in 7 games, and he's fit in very nicely. Andrew Mangiapane got absolutely robbed there the other night, or at some point this season, but I like that addition for him. Jacob Verana, oh, that's too bad. He's got 2 points in only 6 games, but I do believe he scored in his first game upon his return, so that was awesome. Verana was great for Washington before they traded him. They just knew what to do with him, and maybe they can find that again. We'll see if that position is open for him in the lineup, but this team, though it's not like the most impressive on paper, like you're looking at the names, like yeah, Ovechkin's there, but he's 38. Do they really have top line players here like Dylan Strome, Connor McMichael, and Tom Wilson? I don't know, but they're winning right now. They're winning, and their goaltending has been pretty solid. Logan Thompson, a 3-0 record with a 3.28 goals against and an 884. So not the best, but he's winning. And then Charlie Lindgren, Charlie Seinberg's 2-2 record with a 252 goals against and an 895. So looks like Charlie Lindgren's probably maybe got the inside track as the goalie, but it looks very much so to be a 1A, 1B situation. Just go with the hot goalie, and there you go. But so far, man, fucking Washington's been good, and they've been beating some pretty good teams there. So they got a win against Vegas and Dallas back to back. Then they beat New Jersey, and then 2 more wins against the Flyers. They're not worried about that. They lost 3-0 to the Lightning, but then they beat the Rangers last night 5-3. Very impressive wins. So they're getting wins against the better teams in the league right now, and they're beating the teams that they should be beating. So really encouraging start here for the Washington Capitals, looking to go back to the playoffs, and right now they're 3rd in the Metro with a 6-2-0 record. So great start for Washington. Just let's get some more goals for Ovechkin, and that would be cool. Speaking of cool, let's go over to the Calgary Flames for a second. I know they're starting to cool off a little bit. They had a very good competitive game against Winnipeg. Didn't get the win there, but a competitive game. They look good. They did get dusted. They got fucking dusted by Vegas. That was a rough loss, and they're starting to look more like the team I was expecting. It can only last for so long, right? I mean, the team's just not built that great yet. They're not supposed to be a playoff team. If they do, that's awesome. But right now, Calgary is looking to add a top 6 right shot center into their lineup. Possibly middle 6, but I would think they would prefer a top 6. I just don't know what's out there, man. Like, there's not a lot of options out there. I've even heard rumors that, well, not really, just kind of the idea of Kadri getting traded, and that could be a really good move for them. Kadri's been showing some frustration with the team lately, especially some frustration with the referees. I get you, bro. I get you. It's just, you already have such a bad reputation with the refs. Like, should you be calling them out in interviews and shit like that? I don't know. But, yeah, it looks like the Flames are not flaming out just yet. They kind of remind me of the Philadelphia Flyers from last year. It's like they're this plucky team, doesn't really go away. They just keep coming after you, and they're resilient, man. They're a very resilient team. That's why I love Calgary. They've always been that underdog, resilient team, and I like that. But also, captain Michael Backlund, he will be playing his 1,000th game, or already did, or will be. But congratulations, that is awesome. 1,000 games for you. Has he played with the Flames his whole entire career? I think he might have. That's really impressive. So congratulations to you. And we'll see. Throw out some names that you think could potentially, like, what right shot center is out there? Like, I don't even know who shoots right as a center. And there's, like, really no centers out there. I was thinking of a potential trade with Montreal, maybe. They can get, maybe send Kadri over there as a more veteran center. And then maybe Calgary could bring in like a Kirby Dach or another one of their younger centers or something. I don't know. Just a thought. That might be too much, might be too little. I don't know. But that would be an interesting trade for sure. We'll see what happens with the Calgary Flames and how their record turns out over the next little bit. Did they play the other night? I don't believe. No, they're playing tonight against Utah. Could win that game. They definitely could. Utah, they just came off of a huge win, so they might be riding high right now. And Calgary coming off of a very, very nasty loss against Vegas, right? Yeah, 5-0 straight up. So that was just an ass kicking. So the Flames need to rebound, and Utah wants to continue winning some games. So they got to start winning games. So there you go. And I think that's everything I want to talk about this week. We'll save some other stuff. We'll talk about New Jersey. We're definitely going to take a look at New Jersey because some people are hitting the panic button on New Jersey already. I think I'll wait another week and we'll talk about New Jersey next time. Florida, Tampa. Yep, I think we got everything here, folks. I also have the NHL's top 50 players. NHL.com versus Sportsnet top 50. I will. Whenever I get a slower week, I have it here. I would like to talk about it, but I'm running out of time right now. So I think that will do it, everybody. Who do the Leafs play next? I think they're playing on Thursday. Of course, I'm working. Oh, they are playing. They're playing the Kraken on Thursday. They should win that, but who fucking knows anymore? And they do have a game on Saturday. They're playing the Blues. Okay, you better get your revenge on the Blues. If you embarrass yourself against the Blues again, I'm going to be pissed. So there you go, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. You the best. You want to be even more of the best, make sure you're reviewing the podcast, sharing it around with 1,100 of your favorite friends, even some of your enemies. I don't care. That's fine with me. And in terms of what else we got going on with the podcast this week, tomorrow I will be uploading a special Halloween GamerCast episode. It is a top 13 list, so be on the lookout for that. I'll be dropping that tomorrow, and that will be the final horror-themed episode for the GamerCast this year. At least, I might play another horror game in the future at some point, but yeah, that should do it for that this week. And the next GamerCast will be Bully. I'm going to be having a review, a retro cast of Bully, kind of playing into the theme. I want to do a nostalgic November where I'm only talking about old games, but we'll see how that one goes. I may not be able to get it all as old games, but I was thinking about an old Call of Duty review, maybe talk about an old Call of Duty since the new Call of Duty's coming out. There's some games I want to play. I haven't started the nostalgic games yet, so I better get my ass in gear and starting playing some of those games so I can have something to talk about this month. If not, there might be a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 review because I've been playing the shit out of that with the homie Kyle, so maybe there'll be a review for that. I don't know. And we got WrestleCast, so we did the Halloween Havoc review is out now, so you can go back and listen to that. If you didn't have a chance to watch Halloween Havoc, or even if you did, you want to hear my opinions on it, you can go check out that review. That would be wicked. don't think there's any wrestling pay-per-views this weekend. We're in the clear, so just a standard wrestling recap of AEW and WWE shows, and that'll wrap it up for the week. So there you go, everybody. Thank you again for listening. You the best. We got a Twitter page you can follow along with. I upload all these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. You can subscribe over there. Drop a comment on one of the videos you would like a question answered on the podcast. I'd love to answer your question. Anything about wrestling, video games, or hockey would be preferred. Outside of that, I'm not an expert, but I'll try. I'll give it a good old college try if you want. Don't ask me about women advice. You know, I am married, but I'm terrible with women. I don't get them. I just don't, okay? Anyway, so getting off track. Thank you everybody so much for listening. We'll be back again with some GX Plus Cast.